If you grew up in the 1970s, you survived things that would absolutely terrify parents today. We rode loose in station wagons, drank from garden hoses, and built go-karts with zero brakes. But here's what they don't understand. We didn't just survive, we thrived. These 15 moments prove why our childhood was the last truly free generation. Riding loose in the way back. Before seatbelt laws, the back of a station wagon was every kid's favorite spot. No restraints, just blankets and beanbags sliding on the floor. We'd sit facing backward, making faces at cars or waving like royalty. Some wagons had a power rear window. We'd roll it down to yell into the wind or spit sunflower seeds. It wasn't reckless, it was freedom. And if you scored the whole way back to yourself, that was pure luxury. Do you remember the smell back there? Hot vinyl, warm snacks, and the start of every adventure. Streetlights were our curfew. We didn't need watches or reminders. The rule was simple: be home when the streetlights flickered on. Until then, the neighborhood was ours. We played kickball in the middle of the road. Chalk lines marked home plate, and every bike left on the lawn meant another friend had joined. No phones, no schedules, just daylight and freedom. When the first glow hit the pavement, you'd hear someone yell, "Lights are on!" That was the signal. Time to wrap it up and pedal home fast, before Mom had to come looking. Saturday cartoons and cereal mountains. Saturday mornings in the 1970s were sacred. You'd wake up before the sun, still in pajamas, and race to the TV. No remote, just the big knob, and tune into hours of non-stop cartoons. Scooby-Doo, Looney Tunes, Super Friends, each with its own theme song you knew by heart. Next to you, a mountain of sugary cereal, maybe Cap'n Crunch or Lucky Charms, poured into a mixing bowl with whole milk and zero adult supervision. No phones, no scrolling, just you, your favorite show, and the kind of joy that doesn't exist anymore. Recording songs before the DJ talked. You had to be fast, sitting by the radio with your fingers on the record and play buttons, waiting for your favorite song to start. And when it finally did, you prayed the DJ wouldn't talk over the intro. We built entire mixtapes this way, timing, guessing, cutting off commercials, all to capture a perfect version of Hotel California or Dream On. No streaming, no skip button, just pure effort and pride. Those homemade cassettes weren't just music, they were trophies. Proof you had patience, taste, and a steady hand. And when it worked, you felt unstoppable. Sleeping on the back window deck. On long road trips, there was no better spot than the back window deck. It wasn't padded, it wasn't safe, but it was ours. We'd stretch out above the back seat, watching telephone wires rise and fall like waves against the sky. No seatbelt, no booster, just the hum of the tires and the warmth of the sun lulling us to sleep. Parents never blinked twice. We were quiet, content, and out of the way. Today it sounds like negligence. Back then, it felt like luxury. If you remember this rolling nap spot, you grew up truly free. Did you ever fall asleep up there during a family trip? Let us know. The purple ink smell at school. There was nothing like the smell of a fresh ditto copy. That sweet chemical scent of purple ink meant something exciting, maybe a surprise quiz or that Thanksgiving turkey worksheet we'd color with stubby crayons. We'd all secretly lift the paper to our faces and inhale like it was perfume. Some kids swore it gave them a tiny buzz. The mimeograph clunked away in the teacher's lounge, and you could smell the pages coming before you saw them. Funny thing, we don't remember the answers, but we'll never forget that smell of learning. Knocking to find a friend. Back then, friendship didn't need a phone call, it just needed a bike and a hunch. You'd ride to your buddy's house, drop it in the yard, and ring the doorbell. No schedule, no warning. If his mom answered, you'd ask the magic question, "Can he come out?" Sometimes you struck gold, sometimes you got a shake of the head. But even then, you'd knock on the next door. There was freedom in not knowing what the day would bring, and magic in discovering it together. Before group chats, this was how adventures started, Ever remember who opened the door most at your friend's house? Getting hurt was just normal. We crashed bikes, skinned knees, and took baseballs to the face. And no one made a fuss. A bandage, maybe some Bactine, and you were back outside before Mom finished her coffee. We didn't have helmets or bubble wrap. We had gravel burns and bragging rights. Falling out of a tree wasn't a crisis, it was a lesson. You learned how to land, how to bounce back, and how not to do that again. Pain wasn't a problem. It was just part of growing up, and we wouldn't have had it any other way. The woods were ours. Behind every suburban neighborhood was a patch of land we simply called the woods. It wasn't a park. There were no trails, no signs, no supervision, just raw earth, trees, and adventure. We built forts from scrap wood, hunted for frogs and turtles, and stumbled upon forgotten junk that felt like buried treasure. There were old tires, broken bikes, sometimes even abandoned cars. Parents didn't ask where we'd been. They just told us to be back by dark. It was wild, a little dangerous, and absolutely ours. No GPS, no phones, just instinct, imagination, and freedom. Block parties took over the street. Back then, the whole street felt like family. When summer hit, someone would get a permit, or maybe not, and the road would shut down. Tables, coolers, charcoal grills, and folding chairs spilled into the pavement. Kids zipped down the middle of the street on bikes and skates, dodging lawn chairs and laughing like it was the 4th of July. Parents shared beers, stories, and music from a scratchy radio. No fancy catering, no security. Just neighbors coming together, owning the block like it was theirs. For one night, the street belonged to us all. Toys that could take an eye out. Before safety warnings took over, our toys were designed for fun, not protection. We had clackers that could shatter and send shards flying. We hurled lawn darts into the sky, barely missing our siblings. BB guns, wood-burning kits, and chemistry sets with real acid sat on every Christmas list. Cuts, burns, and bruises were part of the experience, and no one sued the toy company. Parents didn't panic. They told us to be careful and sent us back out. These weren't accidents waiting to happen. They were adventures, and somehow, most of us made it out just fine. Hot Wheels and kitchen races. Our racetracks weren't on screens, they were on linoleum. We'd unroll those long orange Hot Wheels tracks from the kitchen table to the hallway, using stacks of books and cereal boxes to create epic jumps and turns. The sound of those little metal cars clicking into place and flying off the ramp? Pure magic. We'd time races with our own counting, argue over which car was fastest, and swear by graphite wheels. The floor was our racetrack, and imagination was the engine. No batteries, no Wi-Fi, just plastic speed and hours of homemade thrills. Go-Karts built from junk. We didn't buy go-karts, we built them. A couple of planks, some rusty wheels from a busted lawnmower, and a milk crate for steering. That was enough. No brakes, no helmets, and definitely no adult supervision. We'd race downhill on cracked sidewalks, gripping ropes tied to a wooden axle, praying we didn't wipe out before the bottom. Sometimes we crashed hard, sometimes we made it. Either way, we limped home proud. It wasn't about safety. It was about building something with your own two hands and testing your courage one hill at a time. Garbage can jumps like Evel Knievel. All we needed was a ramp, a rickety bike, and a row of dented garbage cans. Inspired by Evel Knievel, we turned quiet driveways into death-defying stunt arenas. Someone would stack the cans, someone else would measure the run-up, and one brave soul would pedal full speed into legend, or into the bushes. We wiped out often, scraped knees and elbows raw, but the glory was worth it. No one called 911. We just laughed, limped, and dared each other to go farther. It wasn't about landing clean. It was about having the guts to try. The Big Wheel Showdown. On every block, there was one big wheel that ruled them all. The plastic wheels made that signature rumble as you tore down the sidewalk, crouched low with your feet flying. We'd drift around corners, race the neighbor kids, and slam the handbrake for the perfect spin-out. Scratched up helmets, Optional, bloody knees, guaranteed. The faster it wore down, the cooler it looked. That front wheel eventually clicked with every rotation, a proud battle scar from countless skids. It wasn't just a toy, it was your ride, your style, your status. Owning the block started with owning the big wheel. These 15 things weren't just childhood moments, they were the rites of passage that shaped an entire generation. We didn't grow up soft, we grew up strong, wild, and free. If that sounds like your story, share your boldest 70s memory below, and make sure to subscribe for more.